Welcome. I'm Alice Bramhill, and this is for the deep feelers and the big-hearted people pleasers. Today, I'm going to be talking about understanding the push and pull of both autism and ADHD for late discovered folk. And when I'm talking here, mainly I am talking about those of us with maybe lower support needs. So let's get into it. I don't know if you can relate to this. You're in the garden, it's quiet, the only sounds are the birds and the rustle of leaves. This is what you've been craving all week: stillness, peace, predictability. But inside your head, absolute chaos. Your brain is racing through 17 different thoughts. You're noticing every texture of the chair beneath you. You're restless, bored. You want to move. You want to do something, anything. You came out here for calm, but your ADHD is screaming for stimulation. And this right here, this is the push and pull of having both ADHD and autism. From the outside, you might look peaceful, calm, someone who has it all together. From the outside, only. From the inside, you try to manage two completely different nervous systems that want opposite things. If you're a late discovered AuDHD person, you probably know this feeling. You crave the quiet. You need the certainty. You carefully build a life that feels safe and predictable, but internally you're doing ADHD. You're bored. You're understimulated. You're fighting that urge to burn it all down and start something new. This internal conflict is exhausting, and it's one of the main reasons late discovered folk burn out so completely. Today, I want to talk about what this push and pull actually looks like, why it happens, and what actually helps when you're stuck between two parts of yourself that want completely different things. So let me paint a picture for you of what this looks like in daily life. So you spend all week looking forward to this quiet weekend at home. Your autism needs it. You've been overstimulated, socially drained. You need to restore. Friday night comes, you're home, it's quiet, and within 2 hours you're crawling out of your skin with boredom. Your ADHD brain is pacing like a caged animal. It wants novelty, it wants stimulation, it wants something, anything to happen. But your nervous system is finally settled. It doesn't want to leave. It needs this quiet. You're stuck. You feel like you can't win. Then maybe you get invited somewhere, to a party, a gathering, new people. Part of you is genuinely excited. Your ADHD loves new conversations, different energy, the dopamine hit of social interaction. Another part of you is already exhausted just thinking about it. The noise, the unpredictability, the sensory overwhelm, having multiple conversations, the masking you'll have to do. You might go, you might force yourself through it. You might even have moments of genuine enjoyment. But you might pay for it later, days of recovery, complete shutdown. Or you might not go. You'll stay home in your safe, quiet space, and then spend the entire evening feeling restless and bored and wondering why you just can't be normal and go to things. Your autism potentially needs the routine, maybe same breakfast, same morning walk, same order of doing things. This predictability keeps you regulated. It's not boring, it's safe. But your ADHD hates it. It feels trapped, suffocated. It wants to do something different, try something new, break the pattern. So you do. You change things up. You go somewhere new, you try a different approach, and your autistic nervous system panics. Too much change, too much certainty. You can't regulate. So you go back to the routine. You need it. And your ADHD immediately feels trapped again. Something happens, maybe a difficult conversation, a disappointment, an overwhelming day. Your ADHD feels it intensely, immediately. It wants to talk about it, process it out loud, call someone, text someone, do something with these feelings. But your autism needs the opposite. It needs time alone. It needs to retreat. It can't identify what it's feeling yet. It needs quiet to process. So you're stuck between two completely different processing styles. If you follow the ADHD impulse and reach out, your autism feels exposed and overwhelmed. If you follow the autistic need and withdraw, your ADHD spirals in isolation. This is what makes it so hard for people to understand. From the outside, many late discovered AuDHD folk look calm, controlled, together. You've built a quiet life. You don't go out much. You stick to routines. You seem content. People think you've got it sorted. They don't see the internal chaos, the constant negotiation between two different sets of needs, the exhaustion of managing competing nervous systems every single day. You look like you're choosing peace. You're actually just trying to survive the push and pull without completely burning out. So let me explain what's actually happening in your nervous system. So ADHD is an understimulated nervous system. It needs input, novelty, stimulation, dopamine. Without enough activation, it feels flat, bored, restless. It seeks out intensity to feel alive. Autism, on the other hand, is often an overstimulated nervous system. It's already taking in too much information, too many sensory inputs, too much social data. It needs calm, quiet, predictability, sameness to feel regulated and safe. So when you have both, your nervous system is simultaneously hungry for stimulation and overwhelmed by it. You're trying to accelerate and brake at the same time. That is not a personality flaw. That is neurobiology. And for decades, you probably didn't know you were ADHD and autistic. You just knew you were different, maybe wrong somehow, too sensitive, too intense, too much, and not enough. So you learned to mask. You pushed down the ADHD impulsivity. You forced yourself through the autistic overwhelm. You made yourself fit in. And the mask worked, sort of. You looked calm, capable, like you had it together. But the internal conflict never stopped. You just got better at hiding it. So I was 47 when I was diagnosed as ADHD and 50 when I was diagnosed as autistic, even though I had self-identified this for many years. And that was decades of thinking I was just difficult, inconsistent, impossible to please. When you get diagnosed late, suddenly the push and pull makes sense. You're not indecisive, you're managing two different neurodivergences. You're not inconsistent, you're responding to genuinely different nervous system needs. You're not difficult, you're just complex. But diagnosis doesn't make the conflict disappear. You still have to live with it. So this internal negotiation burns energy constantly. You're not just managing external demands, you're managing an internal civil war every single day. And which need wins today? ADHD or autism? Do I force myself to be social even though I'm overwhelmed? Do I stay home even though I'm desperately understimulated? By the end of the day, you're exhausted, not necessarily from what you actually did, but from the constant internal negotiation about what to do. This is one of the biggest reasons late discovered AuDHD people burn out so completely. You spend decades forcing yourself through this conflict without understanding what was happening. You thought you just needed to try harder, be more consistent, get it together. You couldn't, because you were asking yourself to resolve an impossible contradiction. So I'm going to give you some practical tools, not theory, not platitudes, actual strategies you can use when you're stuck between these competing needs. So the first one is stop trying to resolve the conflict. You don't have to choose between ADHD and autism. Both are real. Both have valid needs. The goal isn't to make one side win, it's to find ways both parties can coexist. Some days your ADHD will be louder. Some days your autism will need more space. That's not failure. That's just how it works when you have both. The second thing is to build as much flexibility into that structure as you can. Your autism needs routine. Your ADHD needs variety. Excuse me! These don't have to be opposites. Create routines that have built-in flexibility. So maybe Saturday mornings. For me, I always have coffee and time to read, usually in bed, and that's the routine. What I read can change. Where I sit can change. The routine contains the flexibility. Another example, I always go for a walk. The route can change, the time can shift, but the walk itself is predictable. This gives your autism the structure it needs. while giving your ADHD permission to vary within that structure. So the third thing is planning for both energy states. You're not going to have the same energy level every day. Your ADHD and autism will have different needs on different days. These are facts. Plan for both. Have high stimulation options ready for when your ADHD is loud. New projects, social plans, novel activities. Have low demand options ready for when your autism needs space. Quiet activities, solo time, familiar routines. Accept that you'll swing between these states. That's not a problem. That's just your reality. Next, use decision-making frameworks. So when you're stuck between conflicting needs, ask yourself, which need is louder right now? Not which one should be louder, which one actually is. What does my body need? Not what do I think I should do. Can I meet both needs in sequence, like stay home now, social connection later, quiet morning, stimulating afternoon? Sometimes you can't meet both needs. That's when you do have to choose. Choose the need that's more urgent right now and try and accept the loss of the other. And that comes on to my next point in accepting the grief. You will have moments when you can't do what part of you desperately wants. You'll miss events because you're too overwhelmed. You'll feel trapped at home because you're too understimulated to settle, but too dysregulated to go out. That's real loss. And you are 100% allowed to feel sad about that. And it's not because you're broken, you're just managing something genuinely difficult. The next thing, finding your people. As much as you can, connect with other AuDHD people. They understand the push and the pull in ways others can't. They know what it's like to crave quiet while simultaneously climbing the walls with boredom. You are not alone in this. You're just part of a smaller group. So having both ADHD and autism means you'll always have competing needs. Some days will feel like a battle inside your own head. Your ADHD will want one thing, your autism will want the opposite. And you'll be stuck in the middle trying to figure out which part of yourself to listen to. That does not mean you are broken. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're navigating something genuinely complex. You don't have to resolve the tension. You don't have to make the conflict disappear. You just have to learn to live with both parts of yourself. Give your ADHD space to be restless. Give your autism space to need quiet. Stop trying to be consistent. Start being honest about what you actually need right now. The push and pull won't go away, but you can learn to work with it instead of fighting it. You're not too much and not enough at the same time. You're neurodivergent in a very specific way, and that is completely okay. So one thing to try this week, notice when you're stuck between conflicting needs. Name it out loud or write it down or give yourself a voice note. My ADHD wants stimulation. My autism needs quiet. Just naming it takes away some of the power. You're not indecisive. You're not inconsistent. You're managing two different nervous systems. And that is not the same thing. Big love.